Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, is one of the most iconic symbols of vengeance in the history of Marvel Comics. Created in 1974, he was a revolutionary character as his tendency for violence was something unheard of before, and his willingness to kill made him worlds apart from other heroes, which led to his huge popularity as his debut satisfied the public's thirst for a bloodthirsty hero that has no limits when it comes to dealing with crime. The Punisher was originally conceived as a secondary one-issue throwaway character, but due to readers' great response, he stayed. He has mass appeal due to his extreme ways, but he remains a very mysterious, complicated character, especially since he has been portrayed so many times in the 40+ years that he has been around. With Netflix releasing their new Punisher series, we thought we'd go through 10 little-known facts about the Punisher. The famous white skull that the Punisher proudly displays on his chest has been around since his original incarnation and has become a symbol for the punishment that Frank deals out to those who cross paths with him. But different settings for the origin of the Punisher has different origins for the skull. From the Marvel Comics, he chose it while he was imprisoned when hunting an enemy sniper named the Monkey in Vietnam. On his escape, Frank left a message for his enemy by painting the skull on a prisoner's chest as well as his own. After he defeated the Monkey and returned home, the symbol was again used to let Frank's enemies know not just their own fate, but who would deliver the killing blow. In Punisher Max, the image of a white skull painted on a wall comes to him in a dream. The skull haunts him and reminds Frank of his ongoing internal war that forever rages on. With the tactical mind, especially of the Max version of Frank, he also uses a spray-painted skull on his chest as a distraction so that criminals will aim for that instead of his head. As the backstory about the Punisher getting his iconic skull shirt is never explained in the comics, the 2004 movie's plot points about the graphic allegedly warding off evil spirits was invented entirely by director Jonathan Hensleigh. The Punisher has appeared in countless comic books, crossovers, video games, films, and television. In his first appearance, Frank Castle was introduced as a villain in the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man number 129 in 1974. Frank was hunting Spider-Man after being hired by the Jackal who framed Spider-Man for the death of Norman Osborn, but Castle soon saw through his old friend's scheme to have the web-slinger killed. After he realized he was being fooled, the Punisher sided with Spidey and fought against the Jackal. In this comic, we saw the transformation of vicious, villainous Frank Castle into the anti-hero that we have come to know and love. It was the creator's Gerry Conway's intention to make Frank into a villain, but once he fleshed him out in the pages of 129, the Punisher became an anti-hero. Like every other comic character out there, Frank Castle has met his demise in the pages of his comics and has been brought back to life. Unlike most others, Frank was brought back in 3 very different ways when he died. Once he was brought back as Angel Punisher. After committing suicide, Frank was chosen to do Heaven's bidding as an angel until he grew tired of it. The next time the Punisher died was during the acclaimed Dark Reign storyline, in which Daken, Wolverine's son, dismembers Frank, but Morbius and Man-Thing reconstruct and revive him to form the renowned Franken Castle. In this arc, he worked alongside other monsters and was portrayed as a hulking monster with huge weapons. At the end of the Franken Castle arc, he was truly healed and brought back to the world of the living as he once was. The Punisher is at his best when he appears alongside another superhero, or in this case, EMINEM, who he saved from an assassin hired by a group of parents who hated his music. Published in 2009 in a 2-part miniseries called EMINEM/The Punisher, our boy Frank introduces himself by killing EMINEM's entourage, and later EMINEM takes a chainsaw to the assassin, the Punisher villain Barracuda, sawing off his fingers in the process. He also appeared in a video game titled after him, but this 2005 Punisher video game was so true to the character's violent tendencies that it was nearly slapped with the dreaded and sales-killing AO rating, meaning only adults would have been able to purchase it. Then again, Punisher is no child's play. Conway, Punisher's creator, originally wanted to name him the Assassin. Stan Lee vetoed that idea, thinking it had too many harsh connotations for what was essentially a picture book for kids. Then Lee had an idea. Years earlier, he created an unmemorable robot character named the Punisher, who was one of Galactus's henchmen. Lee suggested that Conway use the robot's name. Conway took it because, well, you don't say no to Stan Lee. He's been the Punisher ever since. The Punisher has been punishing since 1974. That's a lot of bodies piled up over the years. How many? Well, in 2011, Marvel Comics editor Stephen Wacker crunched the numbers. From 1974 to 2011, Punisher had killed exactly 48,502 people. Yeah, he's kind of a monster. In Punisher: The End, an alternate universe, non-canon story, Frank Castle is one of the last remaining humans on Earth after a nuclear holocaust kills most of the human race. Frank tracks down the last group of people alive, not to live with them and help rebuild humanity into something greater than it ever was. He's the Punisher, of course he wants to kill them. Why? Because this small group of humans were the ones responsible for the near extinction of the human race. And Punisher's gonna punish, even in End of the World. Echoing the end of Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe, Punisher tracks down these evil men and eradicates them, and then chooses himself as his final victim. He sets himself on fire and wanders into the lonely wastelands, finally ending humanity's cycle of violence once and for all. Punisher doesn't really care about anyone in the Marvel Universe, with the exception of Captain America. Cap was a fellow soldier, and the pureness and goodness of his moral compass is unrivaled. Punisher actually respects Cap so much that Punisher has outright refused to fight him. When Captain America died briefly in the comics, Punisher changed his costume to a red, white, and blue theme to honor his fallen hero. Aww. A realist of the highest order, when his temper doesn't get the better of him, fatalist pessimism gives him the upper hand, and he is often most dangerous and unpredictable at his weakest and when the odds are against him. He has single-handedly outsmarted several of Marvel's most elite teams, including the Avengers. One of the most famous versions of the Punisher pits Frank up against the entire Marvel Universe in the aptly titled Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. In this story, he meticulously kills each hero and villain, beginning with Cyclops. In this version, Frank's family is killed when they are caught in the middle of a confrontation between the X-Men and Avengers. With nothing but rage and hatred for those he feels are responsible for his family's death, he begins killing everyone on both sides of the law. He ends his crusade when he finally kills his best friend, Daredevil. Any other Punisher facts that we missed? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, like this video if you enjoyed it. Until next time.